Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number, let's see, this would be, since it's a Friday, 544, if I'm not mistaken, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Graham Media Network. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Yeah. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, and not with me, as usual, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Unfortunately, Mr. Grizzly, when I talked to him yesterday, was on the 4th consecutive day of a migraine. It seems that there's been a change in barometric pressure, and that has been very, very rough on a good friend. So, if you got any of those Care Bears healing vibes, and you want to send them across the internet to Mr. Grizzly, I'm sure that he would very, very, very much appreciate them. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. It's a gorgeous day here at the Toronto Beaver Lodge. Pretty calm day yesterday. A little coming down from all the Christmas celebrations and all the gatherings. So it was a relaxed day. I had the delightful pleasure after the show of going to Shoeless Joel's Sports Bar, and I'm meeting up with Kit Toronto Dan for a few hours and some conversation. Uh, he's as nice in real life as you would expect him to be based on what you know of him from the chat. So, yeah, uh, thank you so much, my friend. It was lovely to meet you. It was lovely to give you a gourmet beaver hug. And I very much enjoyed our time together. And in the spirit, unfortunately, I don't have Mr. Grizzly with me, so I can't show it to you. But in the spirit of um, yesterday's totally fake news Boxing Day, we uh, took the picture of us together and basically put the caption, "He said yes!" Of course, I did put the hashtag totally fake news boxing down the bottom, so just to avoid any confusion. But and Dan was a good sport because I told him I was going to do that. So thank you, my friend. It was a lovely, lovely meeting. It made my day. And then I got home, and then it was just a lovely evening at home with my beaver sweetie, which I very much enjoyed. I hope you had a beautiful day as well. Maybe you still had company. Maybe you had a quiet day like I did as well. Either way, I hope it was wonderful and either energizing or restorative or nourishing, even maybe. I'm going to look through the chat and see all's here today. Looking through the magic mirror, and I see Oh, well, I see Kit Elaine. Good morning to you. And I see Kit Mr. Jim. Hello, good sir. Nice to see you. Kit Saucy, still trying to wake up. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see, who else do we have here? Kit Charles, Charles Gregory, joining us again today. Um, and he says, just in case you're as bad with names and faces as I am, I will remind you, I am the Charles who once joined you for lunch with Jim. Yes! I remember. I did not remember until you said it, but yes, 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 with Jim and Mama Lori. Yes. Oh, so nice. Thank you. Okay, the connections are made. Nice of you to join us. Thank you so much. And uh, there's another friend I met through them. Oh God, I wish I could remember his name. Looks like a Viking, big guy. And I asked in my post about if you've been good kits and cubs. It says I've definitely not been good. And it's like well, you get extra presents because your eager beaver and your Wayne beaver always approves of anything that is appropriately naughty. And as the kid suggested yesterday, naughty, GNAWTY. Special here at the Beaver Lodge. What else do we have? Kit Lori Sue, good morning to you. Learning about Cobra chickens on the chat today. Yeah, murder geese are way worse than murder hornets. They're yeah. If they come after you, they're they're mean SOBs. That's why Canadians are so nice. We put all our anger in the geese. Oh man, that's funny. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. We have the grouchy fish, which is not, I don't think, a totally new name, but not a regular name for us. So thank you so much for joining us today. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be off work for the holidays. I get to catch the show. So nice to have you with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Get from Dan in the chat, of course. So you heard all the compliments. That's good because I wanted him to. Kit Uncover, hello. Thank you so much for everything you do for us, dear. And I hope you are doing well. Kit Linda M, the original and the best, as always. Good morning to you. Who else do we have here? Kit Vim, hello, dear one. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thanks for joining us. Who else do we have? Playing with 3D. Hey, Kit, how you doing? Nice to see you. And we were chatting about you the other day. I don't think you were on the show, but when you had mentioned something about INTP and Christmas being an alone time. And I was mentioning that I am ENTP, but on the scale, I'm one. So, like, pretty much down the middle, neither introvert nor extrovert, really. So, yeah, I know that feeling, good friend. And yeah. Alone is often a default mode for me. And often I am quite happy with it, actually, too. So, yeah. There you go. Get saucy. I do have a kiss for midnight all lined up. That is true. And one of the best kisses I could ever want because he's adorable and I love him. Kit Tabby G, hello. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing well. Let's see, who else do we have? There's a lot of people on today. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us all. We love it. Miss and family, hello. Nice to see you. Wish you would have been able to make it to Toronto yesterday because it would have been lovely to meet you in person. But holidays often are schedule wise things change on a dime. So, but you were missed, absolutely. And but it's only until next time, until later, right? Kit Cassie joining us. How is the skiing? I hope you had a great time. Let's see, what else do we have here? And I believe that is everybody. Okay, up until now. There you go. Yeah, Kit Charles goes, we call him the Viking too. He is. I mean, yeah, he's a he's a delightful brute. Let's put it that way. Kits and Cubs. Today I thought because still got a couple of days to go to New Year's, and we've been chatting casually the last few shows, that today I might actually bring you a bit of actual news, along, of course, with our usual casual conversation and chat. But I thought I might bring you a little bit of actual news, but nothing, hopefully nothing too heavy. Uh, a little bit of news you can use that will be important, uh, but mostly maybe some just a lighter, happier fare, so that we can remain in the spirit of the season. I know that there's a lot of things going down. I mentioned it in passing yesterday. The airplane that was taken out of the sky, and it looks like, uh, based on some images, that it looks like it wasn't necessarily a mechanical issue with the plane itself, so there might be more going on there. Um, but that's heavy stuff, right? So we will, and there'll be time for that uh, later. But today, um, a couple of important things that you should probably know, and then um, some lighter stuff, right? Just to have some time together again. And yes, Kit Tavi G asks Lori Sue if and only if, and no peer pressure, you are willing to share. How was the date? Dish, girl, dish. We want gossip. Beaver Lodge hot goss. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to have to leave the chat a little bit in order to be able to do this, because my Beaver sweetie lent me his phone so that I could actually have some show notes. Because right now the show notes are in the thing that I'm looking at, and if I take the thing in my hands to look at the show notes, then you're going to get a beautiful view of the ceiling. And not that I want to flatter myself, but I do think that I'm a little more interesting to look at than the ceiling. Of course, that depends on what you're doing when you're looking at the ceiling, I should say. But that's for another show. Okay. So, oh man, I'm already getting started. I am naughty beaver today. Okay. Some news that you should know. It would appear that in South Korea, even though they had impeached the previous president for having declared martial law, sort of out of the blue, just because he was frustrated because he couldn't get his agenda passed. Um, and then there was an interim president. Well, it seems that the parliament or the legislature has gotten some information or come to the conclusion that the interim president was very helpful to the impeached president in whatever it is that he was trying to do, and therefore they impeached the interim president too. United States, take notes. Please take notes. Uh, so yeah, what's going on in South Korea is uh, getting a little more interesting at the moment. But uh, you know what? I like it when there is reason to clean house, and people decide, okay, we're going to clean house, get the brooms. So. Um, There'll be more, obviously, coming on that over the course of the day and the coming days, as they'll probably need another interim president, and obviously they're probably in the process of establishing elections as well. There is a little bit of I don't want to say turmoil, but definitely some upheaval in Germany as well, because it seems that Parliament has been dissolved there. If you remember, before we went on holiday, I believe the Chancellor Olaf Scholz had knew he didn't have the confidence of the Bundestag, and therefore had to engineer a non-confidence vote to be able to break the stalemate. And he lost the confidence vote, and now the German president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, dissolved the country's lower house of parliament to pave the way for snap elections that will take place on February 23rd, following the collapse of Scholz's three-party coalition. In the article, it says three-way coalition. Again, I am. Okay. Quote, especially in difficult times like now, stability requires a government capable of acting and reliable majorities in parliament, which is why early elections were the right way forward for Germany, Steinmeier said in Berlin. After the elections, problem solving must become the core business of politics again, added Steinmeier in a speech. The president, whose post has been largely ceremonial in the post war era, also called for election campaign to be conducted fairly and transparently. Quote, external influence is a danger to democracy, whether it is covert, and as was evidently the case recently in the Romanian elections, or open and blatant, as is currently being practiced, particularly intensive on social media platform X, he said. Scholz, a social democrat who will head a caretaker government until a new one can be formed, lost a confidence vote in parliament earlier this month. After the departure of finance minister Christian Linder's Free Democrats left his unwieldy government coalition without a legislative majority. Gee, I don't know if you're paying attention, kits and cubs, but the president of France is having trouble, and the chancellor of Germany is having trouble after the departure of the finance minister. People in South Korea are having trouble. In Romania, they had trouble. It seems to me that trouble's all around now. They're all different kind of trouble, especially if you take the Romanian one away, because that was a foreign interference one. But in all the other nations that I mentioned, there seem to be some people very angry with the incumbent government for several reasons. In South Korea, of course, imposing um, martial law did it, but the president was rather unpopular beforehand, which is why he was having trouble getting his agenda passed. For all the people that are trying to frame things here in Canada, like Canada is somehow unique in the world, and that our prime minister was particularly bad and particularly tyrannical. I mean, just look all around the world. Macron's in trouble, Schultz is in trouble, and they're all G7 nations. Maybe you would think that if you were looking at the entire world and you were trying to wonder, let's say you were still in the mode, who do we blame for this because you're still mad and upset? Maybe there was something else. Because it seems the maybe leaders of major global developed nations, and happened in the UK as well recently, have all had a wave of unpopularity. Even in the United States, they bounced theirs twice, right? The Republicans got one term with Trump, and he got bounced. Yes, he got back in after, but he got bounced. And then they went for the Democrats. He got bounced. Seems that people are overall angry, pretty much all over the world, especially in developed nations. Maybe, potentially, it's not the leaders, and it's something else. Or it could be the leaders and something else, but maybe it's not just the leaders. Because it's very rare that the exact same thing is happening at the exact same time, politically, in several countries. Usually each country has their own story going on at one point. So you would just think that some people would notice. Now, of course, we don't have a media that appears to have a vested interest, unfortunately, mainstream media that appears to have a vested interest in making those connections and helping people understand this. But if you are paying attention, what is going on in Canada is really not unique to what's going on in Canada. So, again, let's put it this way. Kindness, empathy, and engaging with democracy in a way That's not only about your own self-interest or even in your own national interest, but always taking some time to look at your country relative to itself and its past performance, yes, but relative to near peer nations, right? And just the global community of nations as well, because good ideas come from everywhere, as do bad ideas. Um, and then look at what you do, look at how you're doing. We have very little reason overall to be believing that we live in some country that is devoid of freedom and we're losing everything and all that kind of stuff. We have and that we're all being hard done by and all that kind of stuff. Um, we'd have a very difficult time making that case, which is why everybody is narrowing the focus to just looking at our own belly buttons and comparing us today to ourselves just pre-COVID, and trying to just completely dismiss that the biggest global economic shock probably in human history, probably, could be wrong on that, but probably just happened. And then throw in a couple of wars and climate change on top. I mean, come on. So, but simple solutions are easier to communicate, and finding someone to blame is an easy path. So um, that's the road that we're on. But just to, I'm saying this to give you some clues. You know, if you really want to know if things are as bad as people are trying to warn you. So right now we have conservatives trying to warn us that everything is bad, going to hell in a handbasket. But if you want to double check that, just don't only, they'll give you numbers. Look how well we're doing. Look how terribly we're doing now compared to how well we were doing that. Well, didn't stuff happen in between? No, no, don't mind that. Just look at the numbers, right? Take a step back and also look. If we're considering the entire world, if we're considering the other OECD nations, the other G20 nations, the other G7 nations, each group gets a little smaller in terms of number of countries. How are we doing? How are we faring? Ultimately, not so bad. Ultimately, not so bad. And again, like I say, if it's general suckage all around, and wherever you are is, among the least sucky of all the suckage, but it still sucks, you're still going to get public anger, right? But if you want to know how angry you should be, or but not how angry you should be, if you want to know if the reason for your anger should be that it's just that things aren't as easy as they were before, and that's frustrating, that's one thing. Or if somebody has done something to you for you to be in that situation. Sometimes it's just life. Sometimes nobody screwed you over. Then a good tip, good media literacy tip, political literacy tip, is to take a step back and look at the context of your country or your region in a bigger, broader context and see how you're doing. So those are two big bits of international news that have been coming down the pike. It's And in Germany, um, the world is going to be paying a lot of attention to this because uh, the AfD, the Alternative für Deutschland, is gaining popularity in Germany, and with the global rise of the very angry right movement, um, big success in Germany for the AfD, which will have a difficulty forming any government because nobody wants to work with it in Germany, fortunately. Um, at least that's the situation for now. Hopefully, after the election results, there isn't going to be one party that's going to look at it and say, "Hey, maybe this might be my ticket." Decide to take a political advantage, but you can bet that whatever success, no matter how small, that party gets in the homeland um, of this type of thing that these people revere. Um, they're going to take that. They're going to run with that. They're going to use that as fuel. Right. So it's the whole world is going to be looking at this. Now, it would appear that in Germany, um, the conservative challenger, whose name is Friedrich Merz, he looks like he's the one who's going to be likely to replace Schultz, given public opinion polls. Um, Conservatives hold a comfortable lead of more than 10 points over the SPD in most polls. The far right alternative for Germany, the AfD that I was mentioning, is slightly ahead of Schulz's party, while the Greens coalition party are in fourth place. The mainstream parties, like I said, have refused to govern with the AfD, but its presence complicates the parliamentary arithmetic, making unwieldy coalitions more likely. So, in order to avoid having to form any type of government that includes the AfD, we might get a situation in Germany where politics makes for strange bedfellows and maybe some coalitions um, that may not be as long lasting. So maybe some increasing instability if people are not able to put um, water in their beer steins, as we could say, in order to make things work. But hey, we are cursed with living in interesting times, are we not? All right. So before we go on, I think that's the international news. There's one more little bit of news that you can use here that I need to give you. And hold on. It's a little weird working with a phone that's not your own because all the buttons are not in the same places. And sometimes it takes a little time to find stuff. So there you go. The other bit of news that you should know is that with regard to health in Ontario, there is a cluster of measles outbreak that has happened here following a case that has been linked back to an exposure in New Brunswick where there was a cluster a little earlier on. According to Public Health Ontario, um, they put out some information here, and I'd like to share it with you. Uh, this was something that was updated on December 19th. They say that as of December 18th, 2024, 63 cases, 37 confirmed and 26 probable, of measles have been reported in Ontario in 2024. This reflects an increase of 2 confirmed and 8 probable cases since the previous summary on December 5th. So that was an increase of 10 cases total, 2 confirmed and 8 probable in the space of the 2 weeks preceding this report. What else does it say here? All cases in 2024 were in individuals born in or after 1970. 43 were in children and adolescents, and 20 in adults. One of the children was previously immunized with 1 dose of measles containing vaccine. 40 children were unimmunized, and immunization status was unknown for 2 children. 5 of the adults were previously immunized with at least 2 doses of measles containing vaccine. 1 adult previously immunized with 1 dose of measles containing vaccine. 10 adults were unimmunized, and immunization status was unknown for 4 adults. Cases occurred in 12 different public health units, so it's already in 12 different areas of the province from the initial exposure. 8 cases have required hospitalization, including 7 children and 1 adult. All hospitalized children were unimmunized. Of these, there was 1 death in a child less than 5 years old. 17 cases were associated with travel, acquisition of measles outside Canada, 2 of whom resulted in 6 epidemiologically linked cases in April and May. 3 cases occurred in individuals with unknown sources of exposure, no history of travel, and not epidemiologically linked to another case. Then what it says, since October, and this is the most recent one, an out-of-province exposure to travel-related case of measles in New Brunswick has resulted in 37 epidemiologically linked cases, 11 confirmed and 26 probable, among 3 Ontario public health units. So in the most recent exposure. So the previous one, when I was giving you the number, that was for the whole year. But this is for the current cluster. So 3 public health units have reported positive tests. throughout the province. Of these, 28 were in children and adolescents, 9 in adults. All but 2 cases were unimmunized, and 1 case reported receiving 1 dose of measles containing vaccine, and 1 case reported receiving 2 doses. One of the children was hospitalized. Based on the most recent monthly summary of laboratory data available, 1.512 individuals were tested for acute measles infection using molecular PCR between January 1st and December 9th, 2024. Of these, 1.7% were positive. So that was the data from Ontario Public Health with regards to that. And just going to go in because there were also some articles from Global and the CBC that might have some extra information with what it can do in order to help stop the spread, or what they should do if they think that that they suspect that they do have an issue. Um, Public Health Ontario says that there have been 101 confirmed cases of measles in the province between 2013 and 2023, and never more than 22 cases in a year. Last year, there were only 7 cases of the virus, which is highly contagious. So, never more than 22 cases in a year over the past 10 years. And right now, we are talking about a cluster of 37. So, that's already greater than 50% more. So, this is a very, very serious cluster. Symptoms include fever, a red blotchy rash, red watery eyes, and cough. So, that's what you should be looking for in terms of symptoms, should there be anything. I'm just going to continue looking a little more here. Uh, right, and yeah, and here the Public Health Officer of Ontario, I believe it is, Dr. Christine Navarro, a physician with Public Health Ontario, said in an interview on Monday that there are likely multiple reasons for the drop. Sorry, the sorry, pardon me. Said this year school boards reported 70.4% of students of the of oh my god, sorry, I'm all messed up in my notes here. All right. School boards reported that 70.4% of students of the relevant age group had both doses, compared to 86% in the 2019 to 2020 school year. That's one of the reasons when you're talking about all the kids who are unimmunized. That would be the reason here. And Dr. Christine Navarro says there are likely multiple reasons for that drop, including missed doses during the pandemic years, delayed reporting of vaccination rates to local public health units, and vaccine hesitancy. But she said boosting the vaccination rate is the best way to prevent such high numbers and serious consequences in the future. So there you go. So just a little, to be careful with regard to measles, and as well, public health has been warning prior to the holidays, of course, that holiday season is respiratory virus season, because it's also gathering season. And right before the holidays, cases had been on a gentle upswing, they call it, all across Canada. And Craig Jenny, who's an immunologist, said, so what we're seeing across Canada is an uptick in a number of these infections. There has been, at least in Alberta, much reduced testing for infections. So I think when we're looking at actual confirmed cases, those numbers may be a little misleading. According to the latest numbers from the Public Health Agency of Canada, released, this would probably be Friday before Christmas, I believe, when I noted this, shows that COVID numbers are steady while respiratory syncytial virus and influenza are on the rise. In Alberta, the number of sick kids are pushing some hospitals over capacity. Young children and very young children and the elderly are most likely to get seriously ill from these viruses. In infants, RSV can lead to complications and hospitalizations, whereas influenza can lead to sorry, there's some noise going on behind me, and it's throwing me. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. Young children and very young children and the elderly are the most likely to get seriously ill from these viruses. In infants, RSV can lead to complications and hospitalizations, whereas influenza can quadruple the risk of heart attack and triple the risk of stroke among those 65 and up. Because in cases of influenza, it is often found that as you are um, uh, getting past the infection, that's a critical period where heart health related issue can manifest. Um, Flu cases are expected to increase during this period. Dr. Isaac Bogosh, infectious disease specialist at Toronto General Hospital, says, we know in the weeks ahead, most of the country will be reporting a more significant burden of influenza. There's COVID around, but we're not seeing the same degree of rise of COVID that we have in past winters. It's probably bound to happen at some point. We're just not seeing it at this point in time. It is unclear why there are fewer cases of COVID at this time than last, but it is still circulating. All doctors agree that we should avoid gatherings at all if we are feeling unwell. Just to keep that in mind. All right, kids and cups, that is the news you can use, and we will now bring you a little bit of lighter fare. But before we go that, let's take a look in the chat and see what you are saying here. All right. And I'm looking at the chat here, talking about more talk about Cobra chickens. Oh, there. Oh, don't there's some uh, in the chat. If you are referring to me by my first name, um, yes, I choose to go by Douglas because I always joke that dogs are manly men who do manly things like go in the forest and chop down trees, and whereas I arrange flowers. So I'm a Douglas. But I don't object to being called Doug or or any um, you know diminutives like Dougie and all that type of stuff. Um, I'm less of a fan of Dougie, um, but I don't get upset about it. But yes, also in and the comments have been made in the chat, and it is true. In particular, at this current time in our history, given that we already have I I hesitate to refer to him as a Douglas, but as the Premier of Ontario. And given that he likes to go by Doug, I really, really like to go by Douglas in particular around this time of year. But I listen to anything that sounds remotely like my name. All right, so don't worry. uh, you use whatever you want in there. I am not easily offended that way, so don't worry. But I thank you for the care. I am touched by the care, definitely. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. Um, Uncover the news in the chat, bringing us some stuff in the United States. Some more proof happening that maybe our only saving grace is the fact that the people in charge all can't stand each other and seem to love to fight as a default mode, and it doesn't seem to matter to them with who they do. So if they can be fighting amongst themselves and keep themselves busy that way, maybe they will have less time to focus on us, and we're good with that. Fight, 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 fight. Anyway. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Okay, let's see. Do we have that? Okay. So yeah, it seems that the latest fight is in between Elon Musk and Laura Loomer. Uh, so if you want to enjoy that while you munch on some popcorn, I'm sure there'll be some entertainment there for you. Let's see. There we go. Swimming. The chat has stopped coming in. All right, I will have to refresh it. Unfortunately, kids and cubs, in order to be able to give you a little more. There you go. Oh, I just saw. I hope surgery goes well for Mateo. I hope so too. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping it's just a routine thing. But yes, Mateo, definitely. I hope that things go well. So yes, unfortunately, the chat seized up. So any of the comments that you put while I was giving you, well, not all of it, but most of the comments that you gave while I was giving you the news you can use, probably has disappeared, unfortunately. Um, Kit Lori, I'm going to read this in because I believe this deserves to be read. I find it so disconcerting and egregious that humankind has chosen to devolve at this juncture. The meaning of never again has been ignored, only to be repeated by a rise in racism. hmm I'm right with you there. We say it on the show. We said never again for a reason. And we appear to have forgotten what that reason is. I agree with you here on that one. That was very, very well said. And I'm glad you said it. Yeah, Kid Saucy, bird flu is going to cause mayhem. COVID will look like a walk in the park. And that's the other thing, too, with bird flu. We're finding an increasing cases in milk supply in cows as well. There have been a couple of cases in humans, but there doesn't seem to be any human to human transmission. However, the more cases that there are in humans, the more likely that there could be some type of mutation that does allow for that along the way. So, yes, H1N1 is rather concerning, not only for that as well, but for people who are concerned about the cost of living. If you're wondering about the price of eggs, the price of chicken, and a whole bunch of other stuff, price of beef, uh, that also has something to do with that, right? Because there's a lot of herds and flocks being culled, and as we mentioned on a previous show, with the cost of feed going up, particularly given you know supply disruptions and stuff having to do with fertilizer and that price going up, and more drought and all that kind of stuff. Um, the size of the flocks and the size of the herds are going down, and population is going up. And as more people are joining the middle class worldwide, more people want to add that type of protein to their diet, and fewer cattle, more people asking for it, economic loss of supply and demand, the price shoots up. And that's pretty much how it happens. So, yeah, I agree. Let's see what else here. Oh, okay. So it's eye surgery for Mateo. January 8th will be the day. So he's not in surgery now. So we will make sure that we all send all the good vibes for Mateo for his surgery on the 8th, that everything will go well. I'm thinking that it looks like it'll be a rather routine procedure that uh, doctors and stuff do regularly enough, and no big mystery, and everything will be fine for Mateo. That'll be fantastic. Ah, Kit Plain Power, you just joined us. Hello, Mr. Beaver Luscious. Ooh, thank you for the compliment. I like that. Mr. Jim, Manly Man can arrange flowers too. Yes, yes, that is true. But I am a different kind of manly man. So and yes, since I've become a homeowner, I haven't chopped down a tree, but I have chopped wood. So apparently, it seems I'm not so bad with an axe. Who knew? There you go. What else do we have here? Charles Gregory, I don't think COVID is similar enough to the flu to trade genes, but bird flu can exchange genes with human strains of flu, and that is a serious concern among medical researchers. Thank you. That bolsters the point that I was making earlier. Thank you for saying that. Let's see, what else do we have? Uh, in the chat here. Great comments, kids. Just good chat all around. I'm so happy. Kit Saucy, raw pet foods will be dangerous while they are active while there are active pandemics in food sources. Personally, I would avoid all raw pet foods and unpasteurized products. Some probably general good health advice to there. Kit playing with 3D Darwin is dusting off the awards again. Kitrano Dan asks, can you catch bird flu if you eat something that's already cooked? I actually don't know the answer to that, Kitrano Dan, but I will keep an eye open for it as I'm doing my research, and hopefully I will be able to bring it to you eventually. Um, Kit Charles responds, right now it is extremely difficult for bird flu to get into humans at all, even with close contact with infected birds. So that's at least a little bit reassuring for the moment. Um, and then what else do we have? All right. Oh, and in the Elon versus Laura Loomer, Elon Musk has suspended Mach influencer Laura Loomer after she spent the entire day yesterday calling him out over his support for H-1B visas. Ah, there we go. Okay, now, kids and cubs, now that we've dealt with the business of the day, let's get to some fun stuff and just some general uh, information that might be not necessarily fun, but at least not depressing or worrying. First off, let's do a little Canadians who make us proud. And once again, um, unsurprisingly, of course, Summer McIntosh still cleaning up all the awards. She has been named the Canadian Athlete of the Year by the Canadian Press. She had already won the North Star Award from the Toronto Star, and according to the CBC, no explanation required was the consensus among voters for the Canadian Press Award for 2024 Female Athlete of the Year. During the month before her 18th birthday, Summer McIntosh became the first Canadian to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games, winter or summer, with a silver medal thrown in for good measure. And then recently at the World, my personal editorial edition here, and recently at the World Short Course Swimming Championships, picked up 3 more gold medals with 3 world records, setting a few junior records along the way too, probably 3 new junior records, given that she is still a junior, and picking up a silver as well in the 200-meter backstroke, which she doesn't swim. Now she does some backstroke because she's an ace in the 400 IM, but a backstroke individual race, she doesn't swim, but she did, and she picked up a silver along the way, just for shits and giggles, right? Uh, McIntosh was the overwhelming choice among sports editors, producers, and reporters across Canada because of the Toronto swimmers' electric performance in Paris. She was selected on 52 of the 53 votes counts because there's always got to be one. With the other vote going to Skelton world champion Hallie Clark of Brighton, Ontario. 3 golds at the Olympics, no other reason needed, wrote TSN managing producer Jamie Bell. The Canadian press began recognizing male and female athletes of the year in 1932. McIntosh was a repeat winner after also earning the distinction in 2023. Canadian Athlete of the Year, twice in a row. Well, female Athlete of the Year, sorry, 3 years in a row. And by the way, she was also, the other award she got was Swimmer of the Year or something, like Female Swimmer of the Year or something from the World Aquatics groups. And Ilya Karun from Canada got the Canadian Male Swimmer of the Year from what's called the a publication called Swim Swam that has they call them the Swammies, the awards. It's always an honor, but to do it for a second year in a row is pretty incredible to be recognized like this, McIntosh said. Previous winners include, and this is a who's who, Marie-Philippe Poulin, 2022, Captain Canada from hockey, and Haley Wickenheiser. Tennis players Leila Fernandez in 2021 and Bianca Andreescu in 2019 when she won the US Open. Haley Wickenheiser was 2007. Soccer star Christine Sinclair, 2020 and 2012. Golfer Brooke Henderson, 3 times, 2015, 2017, and 2018. And swimmer Penny Alexiak in 2016. So literally a who's who of female sports goddesses that we produce in this country. McIntosh arrived in Paris with ambitious program, including heats, semifinals, and relays. The Canadian raced 13 times over 9 days at La Défense Arena. Ascending to the podium 4 times, 3 times to Hero Canada, was a feat of mind and body planning and management. Quote, Just going into the Olympics, all the training that I did on a day-to-day basis and mentally, physically preparing for a 9-day long swim meet, I couldn't have been more prepared, and my results showed that, McIntosh said. I was really happy with how I did, but honestly, I was just more proud of me pushing myself to reach my full potential and preparing as best as possible, because I do that to give myself the most confidence going into a huge meet like that. Her silver medal in the women's 400-meter freestyle on opening night at La Défense laid the foundation for our next race, which was the 400-meter individual medley. The world record holder was expected to win her bread and butter event. McIntosh didn't just deliver, she dominated and won by nearly 6 seconds, which World Aquatics said was the largest margin in 40 years. That's how phenomenal she is. Quote, I definitely knew getting gold was a possibility. So when I finally was able to do it, all my hard work and training came into fruition, McIntosh said. It was a really cool moment because I knew I could do it, but to actually get it done is a different thing. McIntosh then won gold in the 200-meter butterfly, which her mother, Jill Horsted, also swam in 1984 in Los Angeles, and the 200-meter IM in Olympic record time. McIntosh and Olympic champion hammer thrower Ethan Katzberg were chosen to carry Canada's flag in the closing ceremonies at the Stade de France. Quote, Summer McIntosh had the weight of her country on her shoulders when she competed in Paris, yet she blanked out most of the pressure and still pulled off one of the most remarkable Olympic performances in Canadian history. Now that's a champion, wrote Globe and Mail Sports production editor Phil King. McIntosh set a high bar for herself heading into the Los Angeles 2028, and she's preparing to clear it. Quote, I'm still so young. I want to stay in the sport as long as I can, and as long as I can, as I enjoy it. As long as I can, as long as I enjoy it. Every day, I think I fall more in love with it. It's such a fun sport. Anytime I get to race, I'm reminded on why I love it so much and why we do all those early mornings and all that hard training hours and hours every day just for those 2 minutes in the pool. Oh, sorry, I have to bring my screen back up because it timed up. So just for those 2 meters in the pool, in the water, in a race, which is kind of a cool way to look at it. All I want to accomplish is just reaching my full potential, whatever that means. McIntosh put an exclamation mark on the 2024 by winning the women's 400 freestyle, 200-meter butterfly, and 400 individual medley relay, all in world record time, as well as backstroke silver and relay bronze in December's World Short Course Championships in Budapest, Hungary. She keeps her Olympic medals in a wooden box. Each is wrapped in paper towels and individual plastic sandwich bags to prevent dings and dents. McIntosh let others enjoy her medals during her post-Paris 3 weeks at home in Canada. Quote, I try to show my medals to as many people as possible that want to see them just because they are really cool to see and see in person, she said. Just knowing that I'm inspiring people, I think is really, really cool. And it also keeps a weight on my shoulders that I know I want to keep going and keeps me motivated to keep pushing forward with the sport heading into 2028. See, that's really cool because she acknowledges that she's got a weight on her shoulders, but she's obviously, rather than choosing to look that as a negative or a stressor, rather than something to fuel her and provide her motivation and give her flight. So she's taking an emotion and some feelings and putting a frame on them so that she can channel them in the most positive manner, challenge all of the energy that comes with those emotions and those feelings and the adrenaline and whatever else, the pressure, and to channel it into a positive way to give her what it is that she needs in order to meet it. So it looks like she considers pressure to be a privilege, and that is a wonderful thing because that is truly the heart of a champion when you can see the world that way. Okay. Also, yesterday was the start of the World Junior Hockey Championships, and it was a very, very great start for Canada. I'm not sure if the Finnish team might be in a rebuilding this year or if they are similar quality as they have been in recent years, because we know, thanks to the kits, that in the pre-tournament match, Canada seemed to have their hands full with Czechia, if I'm not mistaken. But Team Canada did very well in its opening match, netting itself a shutout. I believe it was a 4-0 win for Team Canada against Finland, which to me is actually a little surprising because Team Finland is they're no slouches. So a very convincing opening match for the Canadian juniors, and hopefully that will keep going through over the course of the tournament. But hey, it's a good start. And there were four matches yesterday on the schedule, and there will be more today, of course. Um, More good news from Canadians that make us proud. At the 3-on-3 uh, in 3-on-3 basketball, Canadian women won the Americup, and the men made their first ever podium appearance. Paige Crozon earned the MVP honors as Canada claimed its second ever women's world title. No, sorry, not world title, second ever women's title at the FIBA 3x3 Americup. Crozon led all players in scoring with 46 points over the course of the tournament. With Catherine Plouffe, Casey Bosch, and Sasha Grant Allen alongside her, Canada defeated the United States 1918 in overtime to win the tournament. Former world number one Plouffe got the game-winning point. Canada had previously won the title in 2022 and finished third in 2021 and 2023. The Canadian men's team of Marek Klassen, Steve Sir, Jerome Desrosiers, and Grant Audu defeated the Dominican Republic 21-16 in their final game to take the bronze medal. It's Canada's first ever 3-on-3 American podium in the men's tournament. Sir was named to the tournament's all-star team. So congratulations to them. In ski cross racing, we've had some great success right before the holidays with okay, not wanting to cooperate, with Reese Howden capturing their second gold medal of the season in Ski Cross World Cup. Um, there we go. Now it is working. Um, and that happened in Inishin, Italy. He's a native of Cultus Lake, British Columbia, and he was the lone Canadian to make it to the finals, finishing first in his heat, quarterfinal, and semifinal, and holding off the silver medalist Alex Viva, who's a legend in the sport. He's from Switzerland, to be the first to cross that finish line. Italy's Simone De Romedis rounded up the men's podium, taking bronze. Quote, I was just happy to be able to make some corrections for today and ski cleaner for the most part and just send it, said Howden. Last race before Christmas, there's no reason leaving anything in the tank. The 26-year-old claimed his second win of the season, picking up his first with a gold medal in Arosa, Switzerland earlier in the month. So 2 gold medals in the same month for this guy. And the win on Saturday was the 13th of his career. He's second in the men's overall standings at the moment with 296 points, right behind German's Florian Wilmsen, who currently has 310. So it's close, right? It's only 14-point spread. On the women's side, India Sherritt made Saturday's big final but did not finish. Hannah Schmidt, Marielle Thompson, and Courtney Hoffus took the top 3 spots in the small final. Sherritt is the top Canadian in the Women's World Cup standings with 325 points, just 5 points ahead of Thompson. Germany's Daniela Meyer, who won gold on Saturday, is that's the Saturday before Christmas. It is in the lead with 369 points. So there's that. Now, if you are a fan of curling, like I am, very soon you are going to be able to enjoy one of the most premier tournaments in the world because the Canadian mixed double curling trial are upon us. This is the tournament that is used to pick the team that will represent Canada at the upcoming Olympics in 2016 in, I believe, Milano Cortina, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Milano Cortina 2026. So there will be 16 teams competing in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. So if you happen to be in the area and want to see some really excellent curling, and doubles is really interesting because you don't get to see it a lot on TV, but it is a different game, and it's faster paced, and it's a way there's a really good variety of shots because it tends to be a front enders game, and because there are only two, and there's a lot of people that are throwing rocks and getting up and then sweeping them and all that kind of stuff. It's a little more exciting. And strategies are a little bit different. So if you're, like I said, it's different enough a game that if you like it, um, that you can enjoy it as its own thing. So there will be 16 teams, and they will be competing from December 30th to January 4th. The winning duo will go on to compete at the 2025 World Mixed Doubles Curling Championships, taking place in Fredericton, New Brunswick, from April 26th to May 3rd. And the goal will be to secure Canada's spot. Oh, sorry. So this is not to choose the team that will be representing us, but the goal there will be to secure Canada's spot in the Olympic mixed doubles tournament. So I guess they have to still earn the spot. The first 8 spots in the Olympic mixed doubles curling tournament, which includes the host Italy, will be awarded based on combined placements from the 2024 and 2025 World Mixed Doubles Curling Championships. Canada was represented by Kadriana Lott and Colton Lott. They finished fifth at the 2024 edition of the World Championships. And we have some powerhouse teams playing in this tournament. So whoever goes will have a good opportunity at the Worlds this year. Canada seems to be taking this event much more seriously in the past recent years. The other podium finishers from the 2024 Canadian Mixed Doubles Championship will also be at the trials. Silver medalist Laura Walker and Kirk Moyers. They're also Myers, sorry, they're very good. And bronze medalists Jocelyn Peterman and Brent Gallant. In this particular sport, they are Canadian pioneers because I think it's because of them that we actually did secure the spot for the first time it was ever in the Olympics because we hadn't won. Unfortunately, Peterman and Brent Gallant didn't get to go to the Olympics, even though they secured the spot. But it was Caitlin Laws and I can't remember his name for the life of me, and I feel so terrible because I'm a curler. But they went and won gold. So but they have Justin Peterman and Brent Gallant to thank for their gold because Team Canada had not qualified before they got a spot for us here. But Peterman and Gallant did get to go at the Olympics last time. And they have twice represented Canada at the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship, winning silver in 2019 and finishing fifth in 22. Walker and Myers won bronze at the 2018 World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. So again, the quality teams that we've got here. If you and then we have some powerhouse teams: Rachel Homan and Brendan Botcher, two of the better skips out there in the entire world, teaming up together to try and play this. Now, this would be, even though they are very good, because mixed doubles tends to be a front ender's game, skips are a little bit of a disadvantage. But skips that really get into playing mixed doubles and play more often might have an overall advantage if they dedicate themselves to it. But if they're playing more casually, front enders usually have an advantage there. The 16 teams at the trials will be divided into 2 pools of 8. Round robin matches will be played from December 30th to January 2nd. The top 3 teams in each pool advance to a 16-page playoff that starts on January 2nd. The top 2 teams from each pool cross over to compete for a direct spot in the page 1 versus 2 game. The losers of those games will play the third place teams for a spot in the 3 versus 4 game, and the winner of the page 1-2 game goes straight to the final. And you'll be able to catch all of those matches on Curling Canada's YouTube channel. So if you can't get there in person to Liverpool, if you go to the Curling Canada YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch all the matches live. And then the Canadian curling trials to determine the men's and women's teams that will be going to Milano Cortina 2026 will be held in November 2025. And for the first time, Canadian athletes will be permitted to qualify for both mixed doubles and a 4-player curling team, which explains why Rachel Homan and Brendan Botcher are in. Because before that, if you were a Team Canada, Curling Canada, if you were on a 4-person team, they would not allow you to go to mixed doubles. They would just add 2 more curlers and go there. But it seems that this time they're going to allow both. So that should be interesting. So that would mean for the first time in Olympic history, we would have a curler would have an opportunity to be a double medalist at one Olympics. So that's pretty cool. All right. Other Canadians that make us proud. Over just before Christmas, Governor General Mary Simon had appointed 88 Canadians to the Order of Canada. This is on December 18th, according to the Governor General's press release itself. Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Mary Simon, Governor General of Canada, has made 88 new appointments to the Order of Canada, including 1 companion, 24 officers, and 63 members, Three appointments are promotions within the Order. The Order of Canada is the cornerstone of the Canadian honors system. Thanks to nominators across the country, it has celebrated the outstanding achievements and wide-ranging contributions of over 8,000 individuals since its creation in 1967. Quote, members of the Order of Canada are builders of hope for a better future. Each in their own way, they broaden the realm of possibilities and inspire others to continue pushing its boundaries. Thank you for your perseverance, fearless leadership, and visionary spirit, and welcome to the Order of Canada, said Her Excellency the Right Honourable Mary Simon, Governor General of Canada. The Order of Canada is one of our country's highest honors. It recognizes people all across all sectors of society who have made extraordinary and sustained contributions to our nation. The motto of the order is Desiderantes Valorium Patriam, translates, they desire a better country. Anyone can nominate a person for the Order of Canada. Nominations are accepted on an ongoing basis and can be made on gg.ca. Appointments are made by the Governor General on the recommendation of the Advisory Council for the Order of Canada. A person officially becomes a member of the Order of Canada on the day the instrument of appointment is sealed with the seal of Order of Canada and signed by the Governor General. New members of the Order will be invited to a ceremony at a later date to be invested into the Order and to receive their insignia. The dates of these ceremonies will be announced in due course. A member or an officer of the Order of Canada can be promoted to a higher level if they demonstrate further exceptional achievement. Nominations for promotion can be considered a minimum of 5 years after the last appointment. And this year, among the appointees, so I'm going to guess that one was nominated to the companion status, and companion is a promotion within the order. So this person already had received insignia and has been one of these people that has continued to show extraordinary contributions. And this person is Pierre Boivin. He's, and according to the Governor General, they say that Pierre Boivin remains devoted to numerous initiatives in Montreal, notably advancing Quebec's artificial intelligence ecosystem. As founding president and chair of MILA, which is the Quebec Artificial Intelligence Institute, he has played a pivotal role in establishing the institute as one of the foremost responsible AI research centers globally, positioning Canada as a key player internationally. And then among the officers of the court, we have Stephen Arishnoff, who is an ophthalmologist who has helped improve eye care worldwide. We have Sylvia Beth Bashkvin, who is one of Canada's top scholars of gender and politics. Among the first to study the obstacles facing women in public life, she analyzed the consequences of women's political participation and has worked to broaden opportunities for diverse people to engage in politics. Zulfikar Ahmed Bhutta is one of the world's foremost authorities on maternal and child health, and their groundbreaking research has guided public health strategies that have reduced mortality and improved the overall well-being of women and children globally. Ronald Frank Burnett is President Emeritus of Emily Carr University of Art and Design and is dedicated to arts education. Stan Douglas, a renowned Vancouver-based artist whose multimedia works re-examine pivotal historical events and technology's role in shaping collective memory. He has represented Canada at many international exhibitions, including the 2022 Venice Biennale, and his thought-provoking work has been shown around the world. Daphne Deborah Gladman has made foundational contributions to the field of psoriatic arthritis. Her research has advanced our understanding of this chronic disease, and her advocacy has improved treatment, availability, and quality of care worldwide. Carlton Lloyd Giles, or Gillies, depending on how you pronounce it, but I think it would be Giles in this case, has made profound contributions to veterinary microbiology. An internationally recognized E. coli expert, he has published seminal studies that have led to new vaccines, improved infection control, and safer food supply. Nada Jabado is a McGill University professor who revolutionized pediatric neuro-oncology with her discovery of, oncohistones, linking mutations in regulatory histones to cancer. This groundbreaking work revealed histones' role in developmental and neurodevelopmental diseases, driving new research, clinical trials, and treatments, and reshaping cancer and epigenetics studies globally. Okay, there are words in there I had never heard before. This is a very smart person. Maureen Ann Jennings is an author known for her historical crime novels, particularly the Detective Murdoch series, which inspired the long-running TV show Murdoch Mysteries. Well, there you go. Dominique Alice Lemieux, deceased, so this is a posthumous award, is world-renowned costume designer in the performing arts, part of the groundbreaking Cirque du Soleil creative team. She has shared her unique designs nationally and internationally for over 3 decades. So if you've seen the shows Mystère or Alegria, that's her. That's her work, her costumes. Randy Lennox is a prominent music, media, and entertainment executive who led major music companies, including Universal Music Canada and Bell Media. He created new and diversified e-commerce businesses and helped expand Canadian talent onto the international stage. And fierce advocate for Canadian content. Tanya Murray is a university professor and one of Canada's leading anthropologists. Her innovative ethnographic research shows how international land development and corporate agriculture generate unintended poverty and how equitable and sustainable practices may be achieved. Marco Antonio Mara, he propelled Canada to the forefront of genome research. A world-renowned scientist, he led large-scale initiatives and groundbreaking work in sequencing the SARS coronavirus genome and highlighted the underlying causes of cancers and new treatment strategies. Wow. He's formerly the director of Canada's Michael Smith Genome Science Centre and a leader in the global fight against cancer. David Richard McCann is a respected businessman, philanthropist, and community leader in the fight against child poverty in Vancouver. He's a defender of human rights and was a catalyst in an investigation that uncovered decades of abuse at 2 Ontario schools and helped negotiate a groundbreaking reconciliation agreement for survivors, which has become a template used around the world. Again, there are some people that would have you believe that we are broken. Look at the quality people we produce and all the amazing contributions they make to the world. We're not broken. Jeffrey John McDonald is an influential leader in hydrology, a distinguished professor of hydrology at the University of Saskatchewan. He has transformed the understanding of steam flow generation and the water cycle through his research. As one of the world's leading hydrologists, he has had a seminal scientific impact on the field. Derek Muir is a world-leading authority in environmental chemistry, specializing in contaminants. A research scientist emeritus at Environment and Climate Change Canada, he is renowned for his work in the Arctic, which focuses on pollutants in fish and marine life. Stanley Natel is a global authority on the mechanisms and management of atrial fibrillation. His advanced knowledge and influenced treatment of this most common arrhythmia and major cause of stroke. As editor-in-chief of the Canadian Journal of Cardiology, he has expanded the impact and research of Canadian cardiovascular research and promoted new researchers. General Walter John Nitinchik. A pillar in our society, Walter Nitinchik is a retired Canadian Army general and former chief of the defense staff. He led numerous command positions, including peacekeeping missions around the globe. He is esteemed as the former president of the Canadian Space Agency and Deputy Minister of Veterans Affairs. Leslie Paulette was instrumental in renewing and sustaining culturally safe community-led midwifery services throughout the Northwest Territories. Through her tireless advocacy and services to families, the community of Fort Smith experienced the return of family-centered birth, leading to Northwest Territories' 2003 midwifery legislation. She was integral in developing the Midwifery Profession Act and its standards of practice and helped establish exemplary programs in the territory. This is a name you will recognize if you're a fan of music. Heather Rankin is a singer and songwriter and esteemed member of the award-winning band The Rankin Family. Her solo albums and performances have inspired fans from coast to coast to coast. She's a revered icon of Cape Breton music and a generous mentor in her field. Hey, sweet darling. Love the Rankin Family. And this is a name, if you do not recognize, I don't know where you've been the last decade. Ryan Reynolds himself has captivated audiences worldwide, notably writing, producing, and starring in widely successful Deadpool films. Off-screen, he supports Canadian causes including Water First Education, Covenant House Vancouver, and Sick Kids Foundation, and co-founded initiatives to increase opportunities for underrepresented groups. His far-reaching philanthropy continues to strengthen communities worldwide. There are more, and I will read them into the show as the show goes on. uh, over the next coming days to make sure that all of them are recognized. But as you can already see from the ones that I've mentioned, Kids and Cubs, a very impressive list of Canadians who have made incredible accomplishments to the nation. Looking back up here in the chat to see if you guys got anything more for me to read back to you and add into the show. Um, and I think probably again uh, the chat has stalled, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to load it up again in order to do that. And there you go. Um, I found you again. There we go. And Jay Crick saying, "Oh, cool! Curling is great." Talking about the Canadian trials for the mixed doubles title. Uncover the news. Get Uncover the news. Had to leave for work. Hope that you have a very productive day at the office. Let's see, where else do we have from the kids here on the chat? Kit Cassie also had to leave. Wishing everyone a peaceful day, rolling into the weekend. Oh, Kid Toronto Dan says he has had no hot water for 2 days now. Yikes! And had to have a sink bath before a visit. Oh, those are not fun. I've had to have those too every now and then when the water went out. Not great. Let's see, what else do we have here from the kids here? Do, 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 do. Cassie saying, okay, yeah, that's okay, got it. All right. So just some casual chat here in the among the kids and cubs here in the chat, but nothing particularly pertaining to the stories here. So I will continue with a little bit more news for you kids and cubs that you should know. A little bit of economic news that could be considered good news. New retail sales numbers from Statistics Canada indicate a small uptick in October, and there's and probably no uptick but no decrease, so remaining even in terms of preliminary data for November. RBC's consumer spending tracker found that Canadians spent less during November's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales than they did in previous years, but there was, like I mentioned, a small uptick in October. RBC economist Carrie Freestone says, "It wouldn't be surprising if overall consumer spending this holiday season is weaker than last. We still have people renewing fixed mortgages into 2025 and 2026. Those households are adjusting to higher payments. Again, households are grappling with inflation over the last 4 years." In his year-end speech to the Vancouver Board of Trade, Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem highlighted the progress that has been made. Inflation has slowed back to 2%. Interest rates began the year at 5%, and now they're down to 3.25%. Quote, "However, weakness in the business investment area, inventories, and exports point to less momentum going into the fourth quarter, and the labor market is still softening." In the United States, it would seem that preliminary numbers based coming from a tracking service from MasterCard, which tracks in-store and online sales, uh, their preliminary data says that spending exceeded expectations this year and outpacing last year's numbers. So perhaps in Canada, we might get a little surprise because our economic situation in terms of inflation and interest rates happens to be better at this time, and not by a little bit, significantly better than that of the United States at this time. So perhaps when our preliminary data comes in, we too might get a surprise. Maybe it's been a tough enough year that when people were asked if they would be spending more, they weren't so much in the season and were saying no. But maybe day, as the big day in the event got closer, maybe people got into the mood a little bit and decided that you know what, if the year was a little rough, maybe a little extra happy during the holidays was called for. So we'll wait for the numbers. But that the numbers in the United States have gone up might be a positive indication here for Canada. And as we noticed, um, uh, economic growth is at the moment rather um, neutral or growing very little. So there are some people that do want to attempt to boost some economic activity, which is one of the reasons why we got this GST cut and why the checks were proposed, even though they don't look like they're going to go through. Because for the checks, a lot of that money would circulate back into the economy and boost a little bit of spending to try to um, hopefully try to kickstart it a little bit more. But there might be also a situation, and the numbers coming from Canada are going to be a little odd this year in that with the immigration caps on the students and temporary foreign workers and that type of stuff. Um, will probably have a bearing on those numbers because we have less people in the country to generate some economic activity. However, it might improve wage growth, which in turn then may bolster more economic activity, but that would probably be later in the year or early next year that that would show up in that case because people would have to have time to um, you know negotiate that raise or be offered one, and then them have the money and then spend it and have it circulating in the economy for a while for it to be able to show up. It would have to be a number enough of people for it to show up in a manner that is statistically noticeable or significant. But still, some very good news with regards to that. Um, Canada Post has said that it has now processed all the parcels that were held up in the system during the strike, adding that it expected to deliver a significant portion of them prior to Christmas. If you saw some Canada Post employees delivering mail on the weekend prior to Christmas, that was a decision that was made, I think, jointly between the workers and Canada Post to work on that weekend because normally, we don't have weekend mail in order to try to get as much stuff to Canadians prior to Christmas as possible. So that was PR wise, that was probably a very, very good move on the part of Canada Post. Employees said delivering on the weekend, that past weekend in select cities. Post offices were open. People in small business were able to drop off parcels and letters. On-time guarantees, however, remain suspended, and domestic packages will still be delayed into the new year. The postal system will start accepting new international mail on December 23rd, so that's already underway, and it is still working through the international backlog. The system is expected to be stabilized and back to normal early in 2025. A couple of recalls to talk to you about. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has issued a recall of certain oysters distributed in British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario because of possible norovirus contamination. The recall covers oysters from the Taylor Shellfish Canada brands that includes Fanny Bay, Sunseeker, and Cloudy Bay oysters. Most of the affected oysters were harvested and processed in early December, so if the dates are on the packages, you might want to look for that. The agency says consumers should either discard or return the products. In addition to that, there's a recall of Mother and Baby Plush Toys brand stuffed toys. Although there have been no injuries in Canada reported yet, Health Canada says the stuffed animals have hard plastic eyes, which could get loose and be a choking hazard if swallowed by a child. So please check if you happen to have these products in order to remain safe. 4 decades ago, last weekend, um, something that was called the Lord's Day Act was repealed by the Supreme Court. So a little history here, thus opening the door for Sunday shopping. It was the first challenge ever on the grounds of religious freedom under our then new charter. There you go. And interesting challenge on the basis of religious freedom. That it was those of us who are particularly not religious or maybe not um, uh, Judeo-Christian religious don't understand why we can't shop on Sunday. And those of us who happen to be business owners that are not as well, why can't we do business on Sunday? So yeah, that case went to the Supreme Court back then. and it did. Supreme Court justices determined, yep, that they had a point, and that's how we got Sunday shopping. But the bill was actually called the Lord's Day Act. Separation of church and state. We mentioned it, but don't think we're particularly good at doing it. Another little bit of good news. Ricky Henderson. Not good news. I'm sorry. Shouldn't say good news. I'm sorry. This is not good news. This is a passing, unfortunately. Ricky Henderson, days prior to his 66th birthday, which was supposed to be on Christmas, passed away. He was a Major League Baseball's all-time leader in stolen bases, a record he conquered in 1991. In a 25-year career, he won a pair of World Series, one with the Oakland Athletics, or the Oakland A's, a team with which he played for 14 years. And he was referred to by some as the greatest Oakland A's of all time. And he also played with the Toronto Blue Jays in 1993. He was voted into baseball's Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility in 2009. He died of pneumonia. He also at one time held the records for most leadoff home runs and most runs scored. And when he played with the Toronto Blue Jays in 1993, that was the second time he had won a World Series. So all our best and all our comfort to friends and family and all those who loved him and were inspired by him. And I think I might have just one more little bit of news for you. In the shuffle that we had recently, one person who wasn't sworn in, I guess because the position is a little different, but they're still technically part of cabinet, is the chief government whip. And Prime Minister named who would be the chief government whip, I think a day or two after the shuffle. And he named MP Mona Fortier, who used to be the president of the Treasury Board until the previous major shuffle, where she got shuffled out in favor of Anita Anand and was shuffled out of cabinet. She is now being brought back in, of course, without a portfolio, because the government whip is the person that keeps everyone in order. But she takes over for Ruby Sahota, who was moved to the Minister of Democratic Institution and minister responsible for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. So additional responsibility for Mona Fortier, who was if one would describe someone as a, they're a company person. She definitely is a party person, and probably among, not say the close inner circle, but someone with whom the Prime Minister probably has a very good relationship, and she with him in that sense. All right, kids and cubs, I believe that is all the news you can use and lighter news that I had been able to gather for you today. So I think that I will call this a show, unless there is something in the chat for me to take a look at. But I will end the show first, and then as we run the little credit things, bumpers, that's what they're called. Industry lingo. I will check up on there and see if there's anything to bring you, and and I'll bring it to you in the Easter egg. So kids and cubs, that is the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crider Media Network, our little Christmas Taint episode for you. We hope that you love listening to us, because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring, and word of mouth is priceless. And you have the mouths from which we want the word to come. So please be sure to tell your peeps and poops all about us. It means a lot to us that you do. And because word of mouth is the most precious form of advertising that we can get, because you can't buy it. And when people who enjoy the show tell other people that they enjoy the show, it's way more credible than us going up to people and say, "Hey, listen to my show, you'll really like it." It's like, I listened to it and I like it. Maybe you will like it too. That does a lot for us. So thank you for doing that. Now, if you do not want to miss an episode, especially those of you who listen to us on the ears only version, just podcasts, then you want to scan this QR code if you are watching, and if you are listening, you want to go to podpage.com/ the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of the words. And thanks to the Ray Girl, there's a button on the pod page that's called subscribe. And if you click on that, just give it a little tickle, then like magic, just like Santa, without having to do anything because you are such good kids and cubs. Podcast gets delivered right to you. Slide down your chimney 5 days a week and just boop, podcast. There you go. So it's Christmas all year long. How's that when you subscribe to the pod page? So please do that. We really appreciate it when you do. Now, kids and cubs, um, what would be an episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show without an invitation from Kit Elaine to surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page and to find the Christmas balls that we have left there for you so that you can make them jingle a little bit. We have like, we have share, and we have subscribe. So if you go to our YouTube page and click them, well, one, it helps us a lot with the algorithm. If you subscribe, that helps us also revenue generation, particularly if you do watch on YouTube, and because every time you watch, we get a little something. So just by watching, we get a little something. That's how you can help watching on YouTube. So we thank you for everything that you do. And also, if you're on YouTube, if you like to donate to us, you can through the super chat function. If you're looking at the bottom right of your screen, if you see a little dollar sign there, that's how you would do it. Or by becoming a member. There are various tiers membership, and you can offer us a little bit of support there. Now, just for your information, because I believe that you have the right to know where your dollar goes. If you donate to us directly through YouTube, through the super chat or memberships, we get about 70% of that. YouTube keeps about 30. So if for your giving dollar, it matters to you that most of it comes to us, then there are two other ways to do that. And the first way would be through our coffee page. Boom. There you go. That little QR code that just appeared right there brings you right there. And at our coffee page, well, we have something that's called the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund, where you can put a little coinage there. And that helps keep your favorite beaver very moist. Because, I mean, you have to keep your beaver moist. It's very important. And it also helps keep our Mr. Grizzly hydrated, because he's got that deep voice. And when you got that deep voice, you need hydration, preferably in the form of a cup of coffee, black and bitter, like his heart, as he says, which is not true. Man's got a heart as big as the globe. Uh, and or a Guinness, he tends to like the darker beverages. And for me, of course, hot chocolate, because you are what you drink. Wink. So if our stockings are hung by the Beaver Lodge chimney with care and will remain there until Orthodox Christmas is over. So if Santa kids and Santa cubs believe that I have been a very, very good beaver this year, and Mr. Grizzly has been a very good and especially delightfully growly grizzly bear this year, then please, if you would make a little donation there to encourage us, we would very much appreciate it because, of course, bringing the show to you comes with some costs, and anything that you can do to help us with that is greatly appreciated. We would do it anyway, but, your help does help a lot. So thank you for everything that you've done so far throughout the year. And if you are able to boost our numbers so that we are able to impressively report how much we've grown this year to you when we start the new year, that would be very nice. But if you are not able to contribute, not at all, then don't worry about it because, well, the gift of your presence the gift of your attention, the gift of your participation, all of those are already making our stockings overflow, right? It's an embarrassment of riches. So don't worry about it at all, not one bit. We thank you for all that you do, but we do like to hear from you because what you have to say matters. So please write to us, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And that's another way to donate to us if you would like. So if you donate to us through coffee, we get over 90%. If you want us to get 100%, so you just send a direct transfer to truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. We get that. So you have many ways to donate. And depending on your given dollar, 70%, over 90%, or 100% can come to us depending on the way you choose. But it's up to you to choose the manner that's most convenient for you. We get no vote on that. We just want you to make an informed choice. But if you are writing to us to chat with us, to let us know what you think about the show, suggest some story topics, participate in our audience participation section, where we're asking you to send us some information as to what you think were the most overrated or underrated politicians internationally, nationally, provincially, or at the municipal level, which were the stories that were most underreported or most overreported, the biggest stories, and the stories we could have done without. Any thought of that? The Canadian who made you the most proud over the course of the year, and why? So let us know what are your thoughts, who it is, and why you have chosen them. And send that to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Write to the words year in review in the subject line to make it easier for us to find. And when we do our year in review specials, hopefully they will be a little bit next year. We might do that on Monday and Tuesday next year, or maybe on New Year's Day itself. Not sure what day we'll do it. We're reserving Monday and early next week for regular news in case there is something that happens in the Taint period that we need to report, and then get back to the lighter stuff for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Hopefully, maybe the day after. So we'll see how it goes. But that's sort of the general plan for the moment. So please do send us that information because we want you to participate in the show because it's yours as well. Because democracy is something that you do. Remember, kids and cubs, that even though Christmas, for those of us who are the more Judeo-Christian faith, have already passed, the holiday season keeps on going. Then there's still some need, and especially after the season is over, there's still more need. So if there's anything that you are able to do in order to help your fellow Canadians, either donation to a food bank or writing some letters to your municipal councillors to ask them to make sure that they do have all appropriate warming centers set up and ready to go for the unhoused population, or anything else. Please donate. Sometimes there are some charitable organizations that see their donations go down in January, or that need extra volunteer help because there are people that go away on vacation for the winter months. So any way that you can give a little hand, either by rolling up some sleeves, putting some hands to work, or donating a little something, or making some in-kind donations. Say you're cleaning out your clothes closet, you've got some extra clothes, bring it out somewhere to people who can use it. Your gently used clothes, stuff like that. The need is still there. So please do whatever that you can. I know that you are a very conscientious audience, so I don't need to worry about that. But just a little democracy is something that you can do moment. Words of wisdom. Well, kids and cubs, I tell you, I think for today, my words of wisdom are going to be just quite simply do something for yourself, especially if you hosted or entertained over this period of time. That's a lot of work. It does, and it can take a lot out of you. So if you have a moment today, let's just do a little something nice and kind for yourself. Sometimes we don't do the self-care part well enough. So if there's an opportunity for a little bit of self-care today, take it. That would be my words of wisdom today. All right. Kids and cups. I believe with that, it is time for me to cue the cock, and that will give me time to look through all those things that you had to write in the chat and hopefully bring something to you. Ah, there we go. Having a little trouble getting the screen to change to get the options to cue the cock for you. And hopefully I'll have a couple of things to be able to read to the show to make sure that what it is that you contributed today does not go unnoticed and unacknowledged. So, Mr. Beaver, talking to myself, cue the cock.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
All right, kids and cubs. Definitely some fun things going on in the chat. Miss Shatika definitely approved of the mention of Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, that one's a little. I have to admit that one's a little cheap one for me because it's like saying, if I write in the episode description today, we're talking about Ryan Reynolds. Boom, the view count goes up. What's not to love? I tell you. Jay Crick has dubbed Kit Cassie as being the ski ninja in the chat. Uh, love it. Love it. I love that you guys are joking with each other in the chat, kids and cubs. That makes me so very happy. Okay. I will see if there's anything else here. Because things had frozen up a little bit, so I will go again. Kitlin M declaring that bacon and Twinkies will save us all. Not sure how that came about, but it seems everybody started talking about bacon and putting, bacon and the stuffing. Ooh, Kit Carol. I actually, speaking of bacon, when we were at the sports bar with the kid Toronto Dan, I ordered myself a Caesar, and for the first time in my life, I've seen this, but the Caesar came with a strip of cooked bacon. They just actually like had a wooden peg, a little wooden stick through it along there, and just some of it soaking in the Caesar and whatnot, but I never thought of bacon with Caesar. It was damn good. Thing is they didn't salt the rim of the glass. So it seems that that's a hack. If you don't like salting the rim of your glass when you serve a Caesar, or you don't just like licking salt, this, add a piece of bacon. Sip Caesar, nibble of bacon. So you get the salt, you get the Caesar. Boom. Genius. Mind blown. Bacon makes everything better, it seems. Even a Caesar. And Caesars are pretty perfect to start with. So, but there you go. So yes, Kit Toronto Dan. Hashtag save bacon. Yes, all bacon, including mine. Kit Elaine says, sorry for being quiet. I was busy slicing fudge. Mm, I would like some fudge, please. I love fudge. Oh man, I do love fudge. Let's see, what else do we have here? I hope fudge was not a euphemism, says Linda. Oh, you all so naughty. It seems it was peppermint fudge. Ooh, I love that. That is really great. Oh my god. Jeez. Yum, 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 yum. Kit Saucy reminding us that a moist beaver is a happy beaver. Every word is true. Okay, who else do we have here? see. Um, I have a. Oh, everybody's talking about either people in their family who are giants or tiny. Kit Turner reports having a cousin who's 6'9" and 375 pounds. Holy crap! That's not a human. That's a statue. Kit Saucy says, advocate for tiny communities in your local area. We need more housing. There are many ways we can achieve the goal without having to make it a huge project. I completely agree. I completely agree. Kit's noticed my beaver sweetie wearing pants when he peeked and threw something through the door earlier. I'm glad he was wearing pants. Just saying. Because if he wasn't, that would have been an entirely different type of show. Not that it would have been a bad show. But I might be biased. You all didn't buy a ticket to that show. That's not what I'm saying. I bought my ticket 11 years ago. There you go. There we go. Let's see what else do we have here. Uh, and yes, Kit Charles. The number of likes shown at the bottom doesn't always update. I refreshed the video and now see more. Yeah, and also with YouTube, sometimes they reserve showing the number of likes until they have a matter of verifying them to be sure that a lot of them aren't fakes or just bots coming in for a couple of seconds to check stuff. So the numbers usually adjust a little bit during and after the show, and then settle till they do the verifications. But yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, sometimes you need to refresh just like you need to do for the chat. Sometimes you'll notice that Kids and Cubs, sometimes the chat just stops loading, and all you just need to do is refresh the page a little bit, and it comes back to you. And that's it. Elaine says, have a beyond awesome day, everyone. And on the island, should you ever go down near to the other end of the lake and where the smaller lake meets the river, we should do coffee. And that's a message for playing with 3D, inviting for a coffee date. And yes, Kid Playing saying that they would love that. Ah, look at that. Kits and Cubs making friends. I like that. Yay. Thanks, Kits and Cubs, for building some community here. All right. It's the weekend. So make it beaverific. Love you all very much. And we'll see you on Monday. Probably on Monday next week and Tuesday, back to our regular time of 7:30. I might do a little later on New Year's Day, especially if we're out taking part in the revelry. We might want to sleep in a little bit, so that day might be a little later. But Monday, we'll be back to our regular 7-ish tech willing time. So join us there. Big dating game kiss. And see you later. Bye, everyone. Big hugs. Hey, why won't the bumper start? I keep on trying to stick the damn landing.